Do you feel it? We're rebelling. We're not going to live in this world this way. Because we are going to become like 2-year-olds. We're going to ask the question, why? Have you ever noticed, do you remember back, if you had children, or maybe you don't remember when you were a child, or you've observed other children, and the question why was always being asked. There was an insatiable desire to know more and more and more. And then as I went through life, and I went through schooling, and I became into counseling and spirituality, I was given the idea that why is an absolutely useless question. Because why was the question that a victim would ask. It was a question that we would ask, why is this happening to me? Why did they do that to me? Why am I not experiencing the things that I desire? And so when I considered that idea of why from that perspective, I understood. It wasn't asking why, it was what can I do to live the life of my dreams? How can I be different to be that? But you see, there's always two sides to everything. So the question I asked as I went through this week, why do I believe in universal truth? Why do I believe in oneness? Why do I believe in a daily spiritual practice? Why do I believe that there is a power within me that creates? Why do I believe that I am eternal? Why do I exist? And as I became silent and I listened, answers came from all sorts of places, from people, from videos, from conversations, from events. And what I came to understand is that why is a relevant question depending on the perspective from which we're asking that question. See, if it's from the perspective of who's doing what to me, then I'm a victim. I am powerless in that moment. That is not a useful question for me. But when I ask the question of why am I doing something, I explored that idea and came up with a whole new answer. That the why I do something is the power behind my desire to do it. Without having a great why behind anything we do, it is just empty words and empty actions. So I want to explore this with you because I truly believe that why is the power behind every dream we have. And when we put that why behind it, we become a creative machine. We talk about, as we teach classes, that when we speak our word or we do spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, that was not only the words that we say, but it is the feelings, it is the emotions that put into the word that give it its charge. But you see, to put emotion into words could be just a mindless act. It's just saying, well, I'm going to be passionate about this. I'm going to put this passion behind these words. That's going to be that. But you see, there's got to be something that drives that feeling. It drives that idea. It gives us juice. In other words, it plugs us into universal power and intelligence that says, yes, I hear it, I feel it, I sense it, I'm going to create from it. And so it is the why we do things that gives the value. Many times people say to me, Reverend Lee, I would like to have $1 million. The question should be asked, why? What will you do with $1 million? What will $1 million do for you? People say, I want to be healthy. Why do you want to be healthy? What is it you want to do with your body? How do you want to be in the world? I want to be in a loving relationship. Why do you want to be in a loving relationship? You see, you can take this idea of why do I want to be in a loving relationship? Is it because you want to be made whole? Well, then the question really doesn't have any value. Because to assume that someone else outside of you will bring you the love, bring you the wholeness that you're looking for, that's saying you're not complete. That we're not complete, that we need someone else to bring us to that state of wholeness. But to say, I want someone in my life as a partner so together we can support and grow each other and create something even more magnificent than us as individuals have. Now that's a why that gives it juice that says, okay, now the relationship and desiring for it has power. So I ask the question from the perspective of knowing who we are. So let's ask that question. Who are we? I come from the why to know who I am because it gives me the perspective from which to live life. When I know who I am, I'm not living aimlessly. I'm living from a perspective that has focus and purpose. I am not an insignificant thing in this cosmos that is beyond description, but I am the incarnation of the one individualized, expressing myself wholly and perfectly. So when I come to the idea of who am I am the Christ, I am the Son of all that is, I am the perfection, and you are as well. And from that, now life has a different meaning because we have asked the why, and the why has become clear for us. So then we say, so what is it? Why do I want to know about a daily spiritual practice? It's just a routine. Well, Reverend Lee says to do this, or someone says I should do this. Well, no, that's not a why. We do the daily spiritual practice because we have embodied the idea, we know the truth, that that practice is what gives us our power, which lifts us to connect with all that is, and now we are conscious creators of our lives. We have become self-empowered with the power of the universe backing us. So when we ask that power of why do us daily spiritual practice, and we explore from the why and we really dig into it, we find that there is all of this greatness that is sitting there waiting for us to accept, to become aware of, and to consciously use, because we are consciously using it all the time, whether we realize it or not. Our lives are being created by our thoughts every moment of every day. But when we grasp the power of our word, we now will stop and we will listen and we will speak with directed purpose, knowing who we are. Why is it? It's important to know that we are eternal. Because if we do not know that we are eternal, then we cannot know that we're one with God. Because we've already identified that God is eternal because God is infinite. God is always was, always will be, always will exist. And as a child of God, as the individualization of God, we must have within us that which is within it, which means if it is eternal, then we are eternal. So we will always be unfolding in that wisdom, in that awareness of the truth of who we are. So when we know that we are eternal, why is that important? Because then we can live this life without fear. We can live this life knowing that we are meant for greatness, and there is nothing standing in our way of achieving anything we desire when we put aside this false evidence that appears real. We connect into the oneness that we are. We embody the power that exists within us, and we begin the creation. Why is it important to know that we are unlimited? If we don't know that we're unlimited, then we're set in a little box. It's a little box of ideas that we live in every day of our lives. The box of ideas that our parents, our grandparents, the news media, our school systems, everyone has given us. It's a little box. But when we realize that the power that we possess is the power of an idea. An idea is the seed that we get to plant. And when we have a why behind that seed, when we have a reason behind that seed is fed, it's nourished, it's protected, and it grows. And with the idea that every idea creates, and there are millions and billions and zillions and trillions, and even bigger than that ideas, we now know that we're unlimited. So we do not have to accept this life as we know it today as the only life and that we're destined to it. And we are not bound by our sexuality. We're not bound by our sexual preference. We're not bound by our ethnicity. We're not bound by our family of origin. We're not bound by the country or state or city we live in. We're not bound by the children we have, the parents we have, the grandparents we have. We are not bound by anything. We are unlimited because we've asked why. And we've gotten this reason of who we are in that because we've explored it, we've expanded it, and we've added power to it. Why is it we would want to heal ourselves? Why is it we want to rid ourselves of any disease that may be apparent in our body at any moment? It's not just to get well. There has to be a reason behind getting well that spurs that creative process within us that allows our bodies to regenerate and rebirth themselves in a fashion that is perfect. See, is the purpose, is there a meaning in your life? Is there a reason in your life that's not fulfilled? That there's something you want to do? That there's something you want to be? Something you want to experience? When we have that behind us and we ask that question of why with that in mind, then all of a sudden this idea of birthing health into our lives has reason. Isn't that what it's all about? You see, without a good why, all we get is no. Did you see how we tied that back to this idea of going back to a 2-year-old? The 2-year-old says why. And a lot of times we say, not now, or no, not now, and that type of thing. The question is, we must allow that why to keep going. So I asked the question, and I want to share with you and use the idea that I use for myself, and you see how it fits in with your world. Because each of you has your own why. No one has a why for you. You have your own why. So I sat down and I asked the question, why am I a minister? What am I doing trying to build with you the spiritual center? Why am I doing that? And I sat for days this week and meditated on that question. And what came to me was this. In this role of being in this planet at this time, in this body, in my life, because of it, I'm able to experience divine love at a level that I've not been able to experience any other way. I took it and I looked at it further and said, this is the way that I get to give and receive love. The way that I express and experience love. But here's the key. Divine love, human love. Then I broke it down and said, why do I care about that? And it came down to this, because it gives me joy. So I started to go through every aspect of my life and say, what has meaning for me? And every time I came to something, whether it was my body, my relationships, my money, whatever, it all came to me about being joyful. Now, when I look at the world, I look at my world, I look at how I'm in the world, I have the power. Because when it gives you joy, which is my highest value, it is my highest way of experiencing life, you never tire. You never get tired of doing something that brings you something that you truly want in life. You see, that's what why does. It gives us the clarity. The question I'm going to ask you is this. Why should you or do you come to Agape? I'm going to suggest to you a couple things. We come to Agape for a couple reasons. One is we come because we're with people who believe what we believe. And you see, when you're with people who believe with what you believe, it's safe. It's a place where you can explore. It's a place where you can expand. It's a place where you can be authentic. It's a place where you can uncover and become more aware of that which you've already are. But more importantly, you come to Agape for one reason and one reason only. And that is to experience joy. You come to experience joy as a community, as an individual, as a couple, as a family. The only reason we are here, and I ask you to take this into your thoughts, into your meditations this week, as you ask why, the only reason you are here is to experience joy. And the beauty of it is you get to choose how you do it. You get to choose, and you get to choose. And no one can make that choice for you. Set yourself free. Be the Christ. Be the you. And embody yourself as you experience and express